Hello, so tonight we're at Kilworth House to see their production of Joseph. So just out from Joseph at Kilworth House, it was brilliant. I thought the energy was fantastic. It was just great to see Joseph done it in such a different little way. I'll give more detailed review in the next clip, which might be filmed the next day because my dad's waiting for me in the bar. But yeah, I thought it was terrific. The cast was superb. There was so much energy. It was just a brilliant production. So it's the next day now, and I'm going to talk you through my review on Joseph at Kilworth House from last night. First of all, just a little introduction on Kilworth House for those who don't know. Kilworth House Theatre. It's an open air theatre. I mean, it's about 25 minutes from where I live in the town. It's near North Kilworth and South Kilworth. It's a lovely theatre. The hall itself I've never been in, but that's kind of one of these posher hotels where you can have theatre breaks as well as obviously just stays, and they do kind of weddings and Christmas parties and those sort of things there. The theatre itself was opened in 2007. It's an outdoor venue, but it's got a roof and everything. So yeah, they opened in 2007. They do two kind of big productions a year. This year it's Joseph and the Cats, but I've seen various brilliant productions over the last 5 or 6 years there. My favourites being South Pacific, Singing in the Rain, Kiss Me Kate, Guys and Dolls last year was brilliant. Of course then we go on to this year's Joseph, which is actually a revival from last year. This production with a different cast was on last year in the theatre and was so popular they brought it back again this year. That's obviously how good it is and how well it went down first time. So yeah, that's a little bit on the theatre itself. It's a great venue. It's just one of them lovely venues, just everything about the whole place. There's a lovely kind of bar place that is staging posts where you can go before the show, after the show for drinks. It's just a lovely wooded little, well, that's what you call it, a hut really. It's just a lovely little bar there, and the theatre itself is just brilliant. It's one of them theatres where there's about 550 seats, so there's not really a bad view because it's so kind of intimate, and it's just a lovely venue. The productions are always terrific. It's just a great little gem to have that so close and local to me, as well as just generally for the local area. It's just a great theatre. So on to the actual production of Joseph last night. Those who don't know Joseph, it was written by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice. Last year it celebrated its 50th birthday, so it's kind of it's been on for a long while. It started as a school production, but obviously in time it's kind of gravitated to a full-scale musical now. I mean, at the minute there's about 3 productions. There's obviously this one at Kilworth House, then there's a touring version still going around, and there's a production opening fairly soon at the London Palladium with Jason Donovan and Sheridan Smith over the summer, so that'll be great as well. This particular production of Joseph is directed and choreographed by Andrew Wright, who is a fantastic choreographer. His favourite production of mine was The Half a Sixpence that ran at the Noel Coward Theatre in 2017. It was just a terrific production choreograph wise, and all his work I've seen has been absolutely superb. So to see this again, his take on Joseph was excellent, and as you'd expect, the choreography was just superb, and the energy and everything that the cast gave his choreography was just brilliant, and his direction is top notch. This is probably one of the best productions of Joseph there's been. It's just fantastic to see it done in a different way. I've seen the touring production numerous times, and it's a great production, the touring production, but it just feels a bit stale. It's one of them shows that's been going around for years and it's not really changed, and while that's great, it's a great production, it doesn't change ever, and obviously it just gets a bit stale from time to time, and I've seen it a fair few times. One of the first shows I ever saw Joseph was, and seeing it last night done slightly different was really enjoyable. It was just great to see that, and particularly enjoyed, one of the elements I really enjoyed was the actual opening of the show. They've done it slightly different this time. It starts with young Joseph, kind of almost in modern days, kind of in modern dress with kind of headphones on, and he sat at the front of the stage playing with a toy chariot, a little gold chariot, and then all kind of his school classmates come on stage, and they're almost kind of like they're picking on him, bullying him for what he's doing, kind of obviously they're kind of saying he's not cool because he sat there playing with his toy, and it's obviously a message for what happens later in the show with Joseph and his brothers. And it's just a fantastic opening. The little boy himself, whose name was, let's find it, Alfie Jones for last night. He was brilliant, and I really enjoyed the opening. It was just him. Then the narrator came on, and she sung the opening song, and kind of the line "story of a boy whose dreams came true, and it could be you" was pointed out at him, kind of saying ignore the bullies basically. And I really enjoyed that, and it actually led to the boy Alfie leading Any Dream Will Do for the start, which is obviously different because normally it opens with Joseph, the older Joseph, but then it kind of Any Dream Will Do halfway through it switched over to the older Joseph, and obviously went into the story itself. And I really enjoyed that opening. I just found it brilliant. It's just one of them really clever moments that Andrew's caught with for this production, and it was just brilliant. And it was almost the standout moment for the production, which is strange because it was the opening, but it was just really enjoyable. And the kids itself were just superb. All the local kids, there's 3 teams last night. We had the red team, and it's just a lot of involvement for those kids rather than the touring production where they seem to just be sat on the stairs, what I remember. They're actually really involved in this production, whether it's just moving props or just dancing or singing along. There's a lot more involvement for the kids, it felt, in this production. I enjoyed particularly when they were kind of on the aisles of the auditorium, kind of creating atmosphere and making the clapping along better and everything. It was just, the kids were superb, and little Alfie, who I mentioned was young Joseph, was terrific, and he's obviously a little star in the making. It was just another element I enjoyed about the kids was In Joseph's Coat, the song. You know, the song where they sing all the colours. I can't do it, so I won't do it. But yeah, one of the clever ones was the fact that all the kids have different coloured boots on. So obviously I think they laid down on the backs and they were pointing at the boots when they were singing the colours for the first time. But I thought that was it's one of the little great moments of this production that really made it stand out. I felt the whole production was fantastically staged, especially Go Go Joseph. It's probably one of my favourite numbers from the show. It was terrific energy to end the first act. I really loved One More Angel in Heaven as well, especially the dance sequence of that song. It was just terrifically done, and it was kind of brilliant. The ensemble were fantastic just throughout, and that was really enjoyable. Into the second act, Canaan Days was brilliantly performed, especially by Howell Dowsell. I probably pronounced his name wrong. I'm not very good with Welsh names, but he was just a terrific comedy actor. He's one of them actors, as soon as you see him in the first scene when they're doing the brothers' names, it was just one of them actors you instantly warm to, and you know you're going to be in safe hands watching him. His comic time was top notch, and that whole scene was he just stole that whole scene. He was terrifically funny, and he was a great singer as well. So if you see the production, keep an eye out for him, and keep an eye out for him in the future, because he's just a brilliant actor, and one who was just brilliant in comic roles. The other thing I felt about the production was the second half. It flew by, really. The whole show kind of flew by. It's not a very long show anyway. It's about just under 2 hours, but the second half seemed to completely fly by. Almost blink and you miss it. I mean, there's nothing against the production. I mean, it's just I was enjoying it so much. It was just so kind of in the moment and enjoying it. It just seemed to fly by. Where some productions can obviously feel quite long and slow, but this didn't. It was just really enjoyable and really quick. It was just a great little piece of theatre. Obviously the show, if you know the show, it ends with a mega mix, which was just brilliantly performed by the whole company. Got the audience involved. There was people up dancing kind of down my aisle with the kids and the brothers that came into the audience, and it was just a great atmospheric moment in the theatre. It was great to get everyone involved in the theatre, and there's great audience participation, which kind of they don't sometimes have in Kilworth, which is obviously great to have. talking of the design for the production, it's designed, the set and costume design is by Takis. Again, I might pronounce his name wrong, I'm sorry if I have, but I've seen a few of his productions as well previously, and it was kind of production, it was a bit underwhelming when you first see it, but when it gets going it's really brilliant. Kind of the pyramid designs opened up into the set, especially the middle one that opened into the Pharaoh's kind of, I don't know what you call it, palace. That was really well designed. Kind of, it was just all designed well. The costumes are great. It really added to the atmosphere and kind of the feel of the piece set in Egypt, of course, and that was really good. And there was also, I must compliment Alison Duddle and Mark Whittaker's brilliant puppets as well. There's particularly the camel, which was brilliant, but there was a couple of sheep and the goat. They were really well made puppets and looked believable, and obviously there was an actor holding them, but they were really brilliantly done, and they didn't look tacky or anything. They looked kind of realistic and very believable, and that was really good. There was superb lighting done by Jason Taylor, and that was kind of a rainbow of all colours as you'd expect for Joseph, and that was superbly done with the atmosphere of the venue, especially in the second half when it was getting a little bit darker. I mean, it was a little bit rainy last night, so it wasn't light and sunny like it could have been at the start of the show, but I really enjoyed the lighting. It was just terrific, and Chris Whitebrow's sound design also was superb. There was a great scene, I can't remember which one it was, where they were doing like the sounds of the brothers but in different speakers, so there's kind of one for the far right and there was one coming from the far left, and then kind of it was coming from different places. I thought it was really cleverly done. It used the space really well. The orchestra, there was a 12-piece orchestra as well, which is great for Kilworth. They're normally in this kind of gazebo to one side, which they were again last night, so you can't really see them, but they're obviously there on the side as a set. And under George Dyer's musical direction, they were superb. And I always think musicians are never given enough credit from theatre shows, so hopefully in these reviews I will do that. But they were just superb, and George Dyer's work was great, and they were really enjoyable, especially the play out, which it's one of them contentious things when audience members are leaving while the play out's still going on. It's just, I don't get it. Just stay and applaud, and I always make sure I'm still there at the end applauding, and it's just really enjoyable to hear just the live musicians, and they were superb last night. So I must give credit to George Dyer and those 12 musicians. Just superb. They were superb. And make sure you stay for the play out, because the orchestra are as much part of the show as the actors. So give them some credit when you see a show. On to the actual cast itself. The role of Joseph is played by Jacob Fisher. He's a great Joseph. He's got the boyish charm down to a T, and his energy was fantastic. It reminded me of what they're probably looking for in Joseph in the first place. Kind of that young, kind of, again, what I've said about young Alfie as young Joseph. He's kind of got that star quality about him. You can imagine him in leading West End shows and everything in the future. He was a great actor and great singer, especially Close Every Door, which is obviously kind of his big slow number, and it was just, I really enjoyed watching him. The narrator's played by Carole Stennett. She's probably the best narrator I've ever seen. She just had that warm quality that it just made her believable, and while she's kind of visible to us, she's obviously not really there in the character. I don't know, she probably is actually, but yeah. And it's just her presence and just her vocals were sublime. She was just really brilliant. It's one of them actresses you could just watch and feel safe with. She had one of them smiles as well that just kind of lit up the whole production, and she was just terrific. She was probably the standout star for me, and make sure you check her out in the future, because she's going to go places, because she was excellent. Other members of the cast: Matthew McKenna, who was terrific in the Kiss Me Kate at Kilworth House a couple of years ago. He's back at Kilworth House as the Pharaoh. I mean, Pharaoh's not much of a role. He kind of gets one big song in the second half, which is a shame because I'm not saying Matthew wasn't brilliant, he was really good, but it's just I wish he'd been in it more because he was such a good actor and he was such a great singer, but he really did that part really well, kind of suited it, and I enjoyed the fact that he was interacting with the audience during the song, which was really good, and there was a lot of Elvis jokes he was making, which kind of I've not seen that in other productions as well. There's not been, obviously they're obviously playing like Pharaoh's Elvis, but there was a lot more jokes kind of like at those conversation and those little things, which was really funny, and really kind of a little moment that I'm not really a big Elvis fan, but you know those songs anyway, so you kind of got the joke, which was good. Craig Armstrong was hugely likeable as Jacob and Potiphar. He was brilliant. I'm not 100% sure why, and I don't know if the actor himself, Craig, is from Newcastle or it was just a conscious decision, but it was brilliantly funny that kind of he was this kind of broad Geordie when he was playing Jacob, and at the end scene he comes out with this Newcastle United scarf on, which my dad was making some joke about. Is he going for the manager's role? Because now they've not got a manager for the minute at the football club. And yeah, but he was just a great actor again, as all of them were really. I can't really fault anyone in the production. The brothers were all superb. Individually, they're all great. They all had their own character. They all had their own moments. I mean, picking out a few of them, kind of Carole again was just superb throughout. Like I say, he was just one of the actors. He's got likeable quality as soon as you see him. Matt Overfield was superb as Reuben. Lashane Williams again as Judah was great, especially in Benjamin's Calypso. It's just a great little song. I really love that song. Something I've not seen with other productions of Joseph is more of a female ensemble. There's kind of normally about 2 handmaidens normally in the show, as well as Mrs. Potiphar. And in this one there's about 6 ladies in the female ensemble, and that was really enjoyable. Added more people to the piece, and added a nice balance to it, because obviously generally there's about the 11 brothers, and it's kind of very male dominant production normally, but to have the women in it was really enjoyable and made it just feel more right, I suppose. Because I was thinking this last night, you never really know the relationship with the brothers really, because you kind of assume they're all kind of 20s, and that's what they look anyway, and there's no relationships with women or anything that are mentioned. And yeah, it was just nice to see the women for once kind of in it and a bit more involved in it, and that was really enjoyable. As I mentioned, the children were all superb. They're kind of local children, as you'd expect, but they're all superb. There wasn't one of them that could fault, but they all kind of stood out, if that makes sense. They're all just kind of uniquely brilliant. I liked how they kept having moments where they were like having little, almost like dance-offs, where they all kind of, there was a scene where they were kind of a semicircle, and they were doing little dance moments like backflipping or whatever, flossing or whatever, and they were kind of interchanging that way. They were high-fiving when they interchanged, and it was just really brilliant. I particularly, one little moment with all the kids was the last scene where young Joseph again he was interacting with each one of them, kind of, they reconciled after Joseph had gone in the real story, when Joseph kind of has resolved the story with his brothers and everything in Egypt, and he came on with his chariot. You find out it's kind of the same chariot that young Joseph was playing with, and I love that little moment. But then there was a scene where young Joseph kind of greeted all of the kids, where he kind of reconciled everything there, and he kind of went around and hooked every child individually, or he had a kind of little special greeting. There were some great ones. There was one where he did like rock paper scissors, and there was just a lot of little moments. I loved how he kind of had a different greeting with every child, and it was just really, really lovely. That little moment that kind of brought it all back to where it started, the production, and that was really great as well. So really, to summarise, because I've probably waffled on for hours, it was just one of the best productions of Joseph I've seen. Andrew Wright's productions and choreography is just top notch, and this lived up to all his previous work and more. It was just superbly enjoyable. It's obviously really a great piece for families. Like I say, Joseph was one of the first shows I ever saw, and that got me into theatre really. and there was a great age range of people there last night, from kind of young children up to elderly people, kind of, I don't know how old, but yeah, it was just great to see that mix of audience age, and it's obviously just a great piece to get everyone involved. I don't think Kilworth haven't really done family show up till Joseph. They've kind of done like more traditional musicals, like the ones I mentioned earlier. Kind of, you get those sort of ones, but this kind of family show is kind of the little bit of an aside to that for him, really. And it was great to see kids there, because obviously it can be quite kind of more mature audience at Kilworth, and it was great to see that kind of different audience there last night. So hopefully going forwards there'll be some more kind of shows that are family oriented, kind of like Joseph, which would be great. But generally it was just musical theatre done superbly well, and it was just completely unmissable, really. It was just really enjoyable from start to finish. It was like it flew by, it was on blinking of an eye, you missed it. Sort of production, which it's because it was so enjoyable, not because it was short. It was so enjoyable, and it's just really, really worth catching. It's on at Kilworth House now until the 7th of July, which is about, I don't know, 10 days away or something like that. So get your skates on, get to Kilworth. There is still tickets available, and like I say, Cats is their next production. They've added an extra week onto that, so I know that's selling really well. So if you want to see Cats as well later in the year, make sure you book your tickets now. And then going forwards, they've also announced next year their first production is going to be Carousel, which will be brilliant. It's not a show I know really well, but do check Kilworth House out, because it's just a fantastic, fantastic theatre, and this production of Joseph was absolutely brilliant. So I highly recommend catching it. Thank you for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe down below. Any comments or feedback, so obviously it's my first review kind of on YouTube, would be greatly appreciated. If I've waffled on too long, I apologise. But yeah, go and see Joseph, and thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely day.